What's up everybody, it's Jake with BizReps, and today I'm here with a video for you on the Industry 4.0 or the 4th Industrial Revolution and why it matters for your business. Let's get right into it. So, the first thing we're going to be talking about today is the first 3 industrial revolutions which led up to the 4th Industrial Revolution, and hopefully jog your memory a little bit back to your high school or junior high history class. So, the first industrial revolution, if you remember it correctly, was water and steam power being introduced into manufacturing, right? So we had our very primitive and first industrial revolution where things went from only by hand to being powered by machines. And then came the second industrial revolution when we had steel and electricity being brought into manufacturing facilities. This might be the one that you remember because this kind of changed the game as far as manufacturing goes. So that was the second industrial revolution. Then the third was actually very recent in the 20th century, actually the second half of the 20th century, when we saw automation being brought into manufacturing facilities. And if you're old enough to remember, this was a big deal when it happened because the robots are taking over our jobs. The Terminator came out. It was actually a huge piece of culture when the third industrial revolution happened because it was a big scare. What are robots going to do? Are they going to take over our jobs? Is anybody going to have a job once the robots take over? Why? Because it's cheaper and more efficient. So who would want a human working when you can do it with a robot? And you can see it even in the way that we eat fast food. McDonald's has brand new kiosks. You don't even have to talk to a person, which in my opinion is pretty cool, but it's a bit scary if you're worried about where your job's going to go if a robot can do it more efficiently. So that brings us to the 4th industrial revolution, which is actually the coolest and most relevant industrial revolution so far because it epitomizes all of the progress that we've been able to make as a society as far as manufacturing goes. So, Industry 4.0, loosely defined, is the interconnectivity and the gathering of big data from automated machine to automated machine, right? So let's say that you have a conveyor in your facility. Obviously, you're producing widgets. And this conveyor belt is moving the widgets along, and then at the other end of the conveyor belt is a robot arm that sorts through those widgets, right? Industry 3.0 would be the ability to automate that process. You don't have to have somebody standing at the other end of the conveyor belt sorting the pieces out. The robot is able to do it for you, right? Industry 3.0. Industry 4.0 is the communication of the conveyor belt and the robot arm, right? So the conveyor belt is moving the widgets along. The robot arm is sorting. All along, big data is being communicated and gathered by both machines. Things like vibrations, frequencies, heat, light, occupancy of people in the area around it. All kinds of sensors are being conveyed to find out what's going on in the machine, around the machine, and inside the machine. So that's Industry 4.0. And if you don't understand why that matters for your business already, hopefully I'll clear that up here in the next couple of points. So what we're going to be talking about now is why it matters specifically for your business. Why do I want it? Right? And the first thing that would come to my mind as far as why you need and want Industry 4.0 is safety. The biggest innovation that Industry 4.0 has brought to us is safety, right? Because if we're able to monitor, let's just take vibration, heat, and occupancy, for example, right? So you've got a large machine press, anything you want really. Industry 4.0 machines are able to monitor the heat of the machine as well as the vibrations coming off the machine, as well as occupancy of the room. So what it can do is it can actually tell you, hey, this machine is hotter than it should be running at. It's also making an irregular frequency, meaning what? The machine's about to do something irregular and you don't want people in that room. So that's obviously a very common example, kind of generic, but at the same time, having monitoring of those specific categories is hugely important. And more so than just safety, we can also talk about something called preemptive maintenance. Preemptive maintenance is the ability of machines to be able to predict when they're going to need maintenance before something actually breaks. So preemptive repairs, which are always cheaper, can be made, right? If we're monitoring heat and vibration and irregular vibration comes from inside the machine, that tells you what? Something's wrong. There's a belt broken. The timing's wrong. It doesn't matter. We can go in and diagnose a problem before we have an actual snapping, breaking, rubbing of metal on metal, all kinds of things that can go wrong within a facility. The third benefit of Industry 4.0 is efficiency, right? And even sustainability in some ways. So let's talk about occupancy sensors, and let's specifically talk about lighting as it connects to Industry 4.0 applications. So occupancy sensors obviously are showing you when people are in what room, what aisle, what section of the room, doesn't really matter, but they're showing you what the people in your facility are doing throughout the day, right? So lights are actually the best way to carry that kind of data through a facility because they're actually making a sort of net or grid system throughout your entire facility completely wirelessly. With occupancy sensors attached to your lights, you can actually watch which parts of the room are necessary to have lights on or lights off at what parts of the day. Furthermore, it can tell you where people are walking for things like dusting and cleaning of the floors to keep everybody safe as they're working in your facility. So occupancy sensors carry this information through the lights across your entire grid back to you, business owner, so you can see how much money you're saving by having lights on or off at certain times during the day. And many occupancy sensors are actually automated enough that they can just flip off when nobody's there and stay on for as long as you need them. So you're saving energy, you're saving money, you're saving time, and you're improving safety and efficiency of your business through Industry 4.0. So if that hasn't convinced you that you need Industry 4.0 applications in your business, then hopefully I can address some of your objections in this section of the video. The first objection, and this one's a little bit comical, but many people actually think this way, is that it's Big Brother watching you. So most of the time, this objection comes from the people that actually work in the facilities, not the business owner. The business owner understands this is for everybody's good, to keep them safer, happier, healthier, and run the business more efficiency. But to them, it can seem like they're being watched for no reason. So for that objection, I would just advise business owners, explain exactly why you need Industry 4.0. Explain what you're monitoring because it's never them unless you install a camera system, and that has nothing to do with Industry 4.0. So that objection, throw that to the side. Obviously, that's not the case. It monitors the machines, not the people. Second objection, and this one's a little bit more tangible, is that people wonder if I have Industry 4.0 items in my business and I decide to rearrange my floor, my facility, am I going to have to rewire everything in order to maintain the same monitoring that I previously had? And the answer to that question is no, absolutely not. And the biggest advantage to Industry 4.0 is that it's completely wireless. It creates a wireless grid across your entire facility wirelessly through motion sensors, heat sensors, vibration sensors, whatever you'd like to monitor. And all of those things are simply plug and play. And they're going to work through a wireless cloud-based system that sits somewhere in your facility completely remotely, having nothing to do with being rearranged. So those are some of the two main objections that we've seen to Industry 4.0, some a little bit more tangible than others, but in reality, Industry 4.0 is only an advantage to your business. So let's talk about an application of Industry 4.0 that's going to have safety, that's going to have efficiency, and that's going to have sustainability, and that's called the Fusion system. If you haven't heard about the Fusion system, then you haven't been watching many of my videos because we're hugely passionate about it here at BizReps, and we see how it's helping businesses nationwide to this day. The Fusion system is a solar lighting system that uses Industry 4.0 through occupancy sensors and grid connectivity to create an Industry 4.0 ready experience for your business. Through Fusion systems, you can create a digital net throughout your entire building that watches where people are going, how often they're going there, and all of this is run completely off the grid when using 100% PV power, which happens at some times throughout the day. If you'd like to know more about the Fusion system and find out how it can benefit your business and get you ready for future-proofing your business, let us know. Check us out at BizReps. We'll be happy to talk to you. Thanks, everybody.